What's up, everybody? It is a bold new day. Bowser really wants to be involved. Not sure if you caught a glimpse of him. Aw, he finally laid down. But we have, holy moly, ravioli, a ton of Switch 2 games to discuss today, which makes this video different, exciting, and exquisite in comparison to all of the hardware rumors we've been covering for the last week and a half. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Not sure if you caught my new Toad mug. Super Nintendo World released a Toad mug in my favorite mug series of all time. I wish they would release a Donkey Kong one. Donkey Kong is part of the theme park, so when that opens, hopefully we get a DK mug in this style. I know you probably don't care about my mug collection, but what you do care about is Nintendo officially responding to the Switch 2 leaks, and then all of these game leaks that have come out just a few hours ago. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you enjoy these videos. Check out the Lexar Play Card if you need storage space for your Switch. It is the best, fastest memory card on the market. It just got upgraded speed last year, and it is fantastic for storing everything from eShop titles to big full game downloads. Comes in 1 terabyte and lower, so you can get a ton of storage for a great price, and Lexar is reliable as all heck. Gets my SwitchForce seal of approval, but Nintendo did not give their seal of approval to the recent Switch 2 leaks. This is not surprising to me because what's Nintendo going to say? Yes, you've leaked our system. Shucks, we're screwed. Although apparently, according to Imran Khan, they do find it funny. Nintendo PR finds a lot of the leaks floating around to be funny. I don't know why it's funny. At first blush, you think it's funny that, like, they're not real, like they're goofy, like they're funny, but then maybe they're finding it funny because it's like, oh boy. Like, okay, this is my hypothesis. Imran Khan is probably friends with a lot of US Nintendo PR, and maybe Nintendo PR does find it funny that, like, oh my gosh, Japan's best laid plans are being laid astray because they're revealing it too late. Like, they should have revealed last year. So, like, funny could be interpreted a ton of different ways. Like, are they funny because they're so wrong? Are they funny because it's screwing everything up? Are they funny because it's like people are going crazy? Who knows? But back to Nintendo's official response. If you recall, Genki had a booth. They said they got a Switch 2 from the black market. They said they had like a replica model for people to pull apart, touch, play with, and test out their accessories. Nintendo comes in here and says they are not official. This dude is using Tylenol on his back, but what's more important is that Nintendo says they are not official. Regarding the images and videos, they are not official. Okay, so let's break this down. No matter if they were official or not, they're not official, right? Like, no matter if they're, no matter if they're real or not, they're not official because Nintendo did not put them out. So no matter whether or not that's the real Switch 2, whether or not that's exactly how the Switch 2 looks, whether or not they got 1% of it wrong or 50% of it wrong, they're not official, right? Nintendo is not going to come out and say, like, hey, Genki just spoiled our big show. Sucks to suck. Oops. Oh well, we're going to shut them down, but now you know. Like, they're going to say they're not official because they are not official, right? This is a 100% factual statement. Nintendo is not saying that that's not what the Switch 2 looks like. Nintendo is not saying that Genki didn't get a Switch 2. Nintendo is not saying that that's not how the Joy-Con work. Nintendo is saying nothing of the sort, except they're just saying that they're not official. So I take this with absolutely nothing. It's a nothing burger. It's Nintendo coming out and acknowledging it, which I guess is a big deal. Like, the leaks have gotten prevalent enough to the point that Nintendo needs to make a statement, but it's not giving us any information. They're not official. They're not. Because nothing not posted by Nintendo is official, right? It has to be from Nintendo to be official. So, of course, any leak is not official in nature, right? No leak would ever be. They're not official. That would apply to every single leak. Even if the leak was like me literally holding up the game box, it still would not be official. A Twitter account claims to have uncovered 3 games from the leaked retail listings for Switch 2 by comparing with other SKUs. So this is a lot of the French connection that we talked about yesterday. A major French retailer started incorporating Switch 2 stuff into their system. We also know GameStop incorporated accessories into their system and their database. Apparently, they've compared SKUs to find Tekken 8, FIFA, and Red Dead Redemption 2. They're sure at 90%, they say. Now, none of these games are that surprising to me. FIFA, EA Football Club, okay, great. Tekken 8, all right, that was a pretty popular title from last year that I'm sure they'd love to expand the audience on Switch 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably Take-Two and Rockstar's way of, like, setting the groundwork for eventually releasing, hopefully, GTA 6 on the platform. Maybe not day and date, maybe a year later, maybe something of the sort, but we'll get there when we get there. So these games aren't that surprising, but what is surprising is the main thing we want to talk about today, which is Nate the Hate's Xbox predictions video. Now you might be saying, what the heck does this have to do with me? What the heck does this have to do with Switch? But in fact, it has everything, because Nate the Hate is going out and making massive claims that are spreading like wildfire because of their exciting and bold nature. Nate the Hate says some fun things like, oh, there's an Oblivion remake coming in, like, I think he says May or June. He says that there is a chance Gears of War E-Day hits Christmas 2025. But most importantly, he says that Flight Simulator 2024 is coming to Switch 2 in 2025 from Microsoft and Xbox, and that Halo the Master Chief Collection is coming to Switch 2 from Microsoft in 2025. Halo the Master Chief Collection. Now, this has been a big point of contention for years now. Ever since Xbox and Microsoft started supporting the Switch, they started dabbling in the Switch waters. They gave us Ori, they gave us Cuphead, they gave us Pentiment, they gave us Grounded. It's been a hypothesis or a question: would we get the big guns? Would we get Gears or Halo? And Halo is obviously the one that everyone thinks is most likely because they do have that Master Chief Collection that ports perfectly over to another system and doesn't provide the latest games, but provides rather a nostalgic history of what Halo has been. Nate the Hate is saying that that's happening and happening in 2025. Now, this shows just how far Nintendo has come and maybe just how far Microsoft has fallen. But I'm telling you, like I've said before, if the Switch 2 can capitalize on third-party, newer games and exclusives in a way that the Switch had no chance of doing because of power and because of powerful connections, the Switch 2 has a chance of being a better, bigger, more exciting system than the Switch 1. Yes, it's not innovating on the hybrid front, but it could bring a far wider library of games to the Switch ecosystem, which already has a phenomenal library of games thanks to Nintendo themselves, indie developers, and nostalgic classics. Getting Flight Simulator 2024, which is a pretty new game, and getting Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is not a new game, but it's like the big franchise, that just shows Nintendo's powerful place in the industry. It shows Microsoft's weak place in the industry, and it shows the potential for just about anything to come to Switch. I don't think we're going to get Sony exclusives in the sense of Uncharted, Last of Us, or God of War, but we have already seen MLB The Show come with a PlayStation logo to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be the platform to own. I think that's what's being made evidently clear by all of these rumors and leaks and by all of the game and third-party discussion is that you no longer will need a PS5 and a Switch. You no longer will need an Xbox Series console and a Switch. You can just have a Switch 2 and have access to everything. Will you have the best graphics? Will you have the best performance? No, you will not. Will you have the prettiest picture on your 85-inch OLED TV? No, you will not. But you will have access to an insane lineup that provides something those other consoles can't, which is Nintendo games, alongside all these others. Now, Nate the Hate also said that Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2025, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. Another massive get, this one far less surprising, as we know Square Enix wants these games to sell even more. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in particular was disappointing to them in terms of its sales numbers. So years after they released initially, but still nonetheless getting awesome versions of these very paramount, much anticipated, really I'd say beloved franchise type games coming to Nintendo Switch 2, getting Final Fantasy VII Remake this year and Rebirth next year allows for them to spread out the sales, allows people to get one, play through it, get the other. And there might be some of this stuff where you see this reintroduction of different brands and franchises to Nintendo's platform, right? Like how they decide to go about releasing Far Cry, or how they decide to go about releasing Final Fantasy, or how they decide to go about releasing Assassin's Creed could be interesting given that these franchises have not been on Nintendo Switch for a long time, save for, the Final Fantasy games of yesteryear. Now, Assassin's Creed is also interesting, and I want to point out, this does not come from Nate the Hate, this does not come from Leaker, it comes from me, which is that Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed yesterday to March 20th. They say it's because of player feedback, they say it's because they want to polish the game up, but what if they want to launch this game day and date on Switch 2? Just a hypothesis. It's no leak, it's no rumor, I don't have any insider information. I'm just saying maybe there's a chance the Switch 2 is out by March 20th or shortly after. And maybe you could play Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Shadows on your Switch 2 without sacrificing any timing or delay. Now, probably that won't happen, but there is a chance that Ubisoft says, hey, they just hired new experts to extract more value out of their portfolio. So one of the ways they could do that is expand to Nintendo platforms, expand to the Switch audience. And I think Switch 2 fans would go gaga for Assassin's Creed, for Far Cry, for Star Wars Outlaws, for these games that have been held sort of captive from the Nintendo audience for many years. And even though they're Ubisoft games and, we can debate the quality as they release, still a pretty big hole in the Nintendo fan gaming experience if they didn't have another console or if they chose not to really play many third-party games. But the huge news here is Halo the Master Chief Collection coming to Switch 2 in 2025, Flight Simulator, okay, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake coming in 2025 with Rebirth in 2026. But Jez Corden says way more than that. Now, this is very interesting because Nate the Hate was saying, all these games are coming to Switch 2 and PS5 as well, Halo and Flight Simulator. And Jez says way more than that. Now, we've heard this way more than that thing for a while now. Remember, we heard that Grounded and Pentiment were sort of laying the groundwork for these types of things, and that eventually we'd be getting more and more Microsoft games. One out there is Hi-Fi Rush that I think could easily come to Nintendo Switch, despite that studio being shuttered. I think we could definitely get Gears of War in some sort of Gears of War like collection, a la Master Chief Collection. One that I would love to see, and a big one, is going to be the Bethesda games catalog. And I think that's probably what Jez Corden is referring to here. Remember, Xbox owns Bethesda, and therefore all their games from Fallout to Elder Scrolls are all a part of the Xbox Microsoft kit now. And bringing those to Nintendo Switch would be awesome. We never got anything from the Fallout franchise on Switch 1. We never got anything besides Oblivion on the Switch 1. I guess that's really what you can get since there hasn't been much more from the Elder Scrolls. But, there are other Bethesda titles in terms of the Wolfenstein games. We did get those on Switch 1, but Switch 2 could then bring us Indiana Jones. Switch 2 could bring us, Fallout's probably the big get. Fallout 76, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and eventually, hopefully, Fallout 5. Maybe Starfield as well. Given that, I don't think that performed up to Bethesda's standards. But to me, when Jez Corden says way more than that, it's looking at that catalog. I don't believe that Xbox is going to just yet give up their big, bold new titles. So like Gears of War E-Day that Nate the Hate is predicting for November, December, I don't think that will come to Switch 2 or PS5. I think it's going to be a year delayed or titles that are more from their back catalog. So Indiana Jones could come this holiday season, which again would be a phenomenal get for Switch 2, but I think the exciting part here is that now, more than ever before, the floodgates from Microsoft are open. PS5 and Switch are going to be getting a bunch of Microsoft games. They're going to be getting a bunch of Bethesda games. They're going to be getting a bunch of Xbox games. That stuff is not going to be locked in. I'd love to see Avowed come to Nintendo Switch 2 later this year. But most games will probably see a year delay or something of that sort to keep some sort of reason for you to own an Xbox and to pay for Xbox Game Pass. But nonetheless, this is the big floodgate opening for the games that we have not seen, that we've been waiting for. Obviously, Nintendo's catalog is still a mystery, but we're expecting Mario Kart, we're expecting 3D Mario, we're expecting a lot of their big hitters. But giving us Halo, giving us Final Fantasy VII Remake, giving us Flight Simulator, giving us way more than that from Bethesda, right? Giving us Tekken 8, giving us Red Dead Redemption 2. You can see how this catalog is building in a way that is more than just what if we threw the original BioShock on Switch? And no shade to BioShock, my favorite game of all time, but this is a much bigger deal, and this is bringing titles that are much newer, much more prevalent, and eventually it's going to be brand new games, right? So when Far Cry 8 releases, it might come out day and date on Switch, and it should. Monster Hunter Wilds is another one that I think should come to Nintendo Switch right away. The Switch 2, of course. But this is sort of formulating and giving you an idea of this is bigger. This is bigger than the Switch 1. We were talking about, we could bring Doom 2016 to the Switch. We could bring Borderlands 1 to the Switch. We could bring Batman Arkham Asylum will run, Arkham Knight won't, but we'll try. This is a much bigger deal. This is 2024 games. This is 2025 games. This is the heavy hitters of this generation. This is what Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be all about. And that's why Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be, in my opinion, far superior to Switch 1. Call it crazy. They had an amazing lineup on Switch 1. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is great with, of course, Booster Pass. Smash Bros. Ultimate is ultimate. Mario Odyssey is phenomenal and holds up so well. You got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. How can you argue with that? But in some ways, I do feel like the Switch 2 is going to exceed that. I think Nintendo can continue to grow their games with more power, with 4K technology, and with the foundation that those awesome games from Switch brought. The sequel to Mario Galaxy, in many ways, was more clever and more creative and more fun than the original. So the sequel to Mario Odyssey, even if it's a brand new game, has a chance to build upon all that. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom was a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but it was sort of more of like a better not dive down that wormhole. We're wrapping up the video. You get my drift. Nintendo can build on these games, incorporate the third parties, grab so much of Microsoft's catalog, and put Halo and Mario on the same console for the first time ever. Now, all those moms that called GameStop back in the day trying to be great moms and say, hey, when can I get Mario for my Xbox? When can I get Halo for my GameCube? They weren't wrong. They were just way ahead of the time. They were time travelers, baby. And now we've arrived at a future where Master Chief and Mario can high five. Probably not, but maybe Isabelle and Master Chief can high five because Doom Guy and Isabelle high five. So it only makes sense that she is in with all of the crazy helmeted heroes. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your take on all of today's games talk in the comments down below. Pretty exciting to start seeing rumors for games coming to Nintendo Switch 2. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.